What if I told you that the habits most likely to stop your heart are the ones you think are completely harmless? Not smoking, not eating fast food every day, not living on the couch. I'm talking about things you do every single morning, things that feel normal, things your doctor has probably never warned you about. Here's the truth that most people over 50 never hear. Heart attacks don't happen out of nowhere. They build, slowly, quietly, day by day. And the habits feeding that buildup are hiding in plain sight, in your morning routine, your meals, your sleep, and even the way you sit. And after the age of 50, your body handles these habits very differently than it did when you were younger. The damage compounds faster. The warning signs are easier to miss. So today, we are going to talk about 5 daily habits that millions of people over 50 practice every single day, without realizing that each one is quietly pushing their heart closer to the edge. Stay with me. What you're about to hear could genuinely change everything. Most people think a heart attack is a sudden event, a dramatic moment. But what most people don't realize is that a heart attack is almost never just a moment. It is the final result of a process that has been going on for years, sometimes decades. Let me explain what's actually happening inside your body in plain language. Your heart is a pump, and like any pump, it needs clean, open pipes to do its job. Those pipes are your arteries. When they're healthy, blood flows through smoothly, carrying oxygen to every cell in your body. But over time, because of inflammation, poor circulation, and certain daily habits, the walls of those arteries begin to change. They accumulate a sticky substance called plaque, made of cholesterol, fat, and cellular waste, like rust building up inside a pipe. As the plaque grows, the opening gets smaller. Blood squeezes through a narrower space. Blood pressure rises. The walls become fragile. And then one day, maybe triggered by stress, a cold morning, or a heavy meal, a piece of that plaque cracks. A blood clot forms to seal it. The artery is suddenly blocked. That is a heart attack. The 5 habits we're about to discuss don't cause the plaque by themselves, but they dramatically speed up the process. They fuel the inflammation. They make the blood more likely to clot. And after 50, they do this faster and more powerfully than at any other time in your life. So let's get into them. Habit 1. Drinking too little water, especially in the morning. This might surprise you, but dehydration is one of the most overlooked contributors to heart risk in older adults. Here's what most people don't realize. When you wake up in the morning, your blood is thicker than at any other time of day. You've gone 7 or 8 hours without water. Your body has been breathing, sweating slightly, and doing repair work, all of which uses fluid. By the time your alarm goes off, your blood is more concentrated and more prone to clotting. And the number one trigger for heart attacks? Clot formation in already narrowed arteries. This is why heart attacks happen most often in the morning hours, between 6 and noon. Not a coincidence. Now here's what makes it worse after 50. As you age, your sense of thirst becomes blunted. Your body stops sending clear signals that you need water. So many older adults walk around in a state of chronic dehydration, and they feel completely fine until they don't. Chronic dehydration doesn't just thicken the blood. It raises blood pressure, stresses the kidneys, constricts the blood vessels, and increases inflammatory compounds in the blood. And the habit that makes it worse? Most people wake up and immediately reach for coffee. Coffee is a mild diuretic. It actually pulls more fluid out of the body. So instead of rehydrating after 8 hours without water, they're making things worse. The fix is almost embarrassingly simple. Before anything else in the morning, before coffee, before breakfast, before checking your phone, drink 2 full glasses of plain water. Give your blood a chance to thin out and flow properly before the day begins. Within a few weeks of doing this consistently, many people notice lower morning blood pressure readings, calmer energy, and less morning heaviness in the chest. Your body is giving you a signal every morning when it wakes up sluggish and stiff. Start listening to it. Habit 2. Sitting for long periods without moving. Here's a statement that shocks most people. Sitting for more than 8 hours a day is now being described as a cardiovascular risk comparable to smoking. Let that sink in. This isn't about whether you exercise. You could go for a morning walk and still be in danger. If you spend the rest of your day sitting without moving, here's what happens inside your body during long periods of stillness. Blood begins to pool in your legs. The large veins there rely on muscle contractions to push blood back up toward the heart. When you stop moving, that process slows down. Blood stagnates, circulation weakens. When blood slows, dangerous things happen. The risk of blood clots rises. The body releases stress hormones even when you don't feel stressed. And your muscles stop doing one of their most important jobs, helping regulate blood sugar after meals. Blood sugar stays elevated. Triglycerides stay higher. Both feed directly into plaque formation. After 50, this is amplified. Vein walls lose their elasticity. Muscle mass declines. The pumping efficiency of the legs weakens. And many people over 50 have jobs, hobbies, or retirements that involve hours and hours of unbroken sitting. This is where the hidden damage begins. The solution is simple. Set a reminder to stand up and move for 2 to 3 minutes every 30 to 45 minutes. Walk to the kitchen. Do a few slow calf raises. March in place. Walk to the window and back. The goal is just to break the stillness, to get the blood moving, to signal to your cardiovascular system that it needs to stay engaged. People who do this consistently often notice lighter legs, less swelling in the feet by evening, and a noticeably lower resting heart rate within just a few weeks. Habit 3. Eating the wrong breakfast, or skipping it entirely. What you eat in the first hour of the day sets the stage for your heart's health for the entire rest of the day. And most people over 50 are making one of two critical mistakes. Either they're eating a breakfast that spikes their blood sugar aggressively, white bread, sweetened cereal, pastries, sugary juice, or they're skipping breakfast entirely. Both are more dangerous for your heart than most people realize. Here's why blood sugar spikes matter so much. Think of the inside of your arteries as a corridor lined with very delicate cells. When blood sugar is high, it acts like sandpaper dragging along that corridor. Every spike creates tiny tears in the vessel walls. The body tries to repair those tears, but in doing so, it deposits patches of plaque. Over months and years of daily spikes, those corridors narrow. The walls become stiff, and the heart has to work harder and harder. This is the real hidden cause of most cardiovascular disease after 50. And it's happening at the breakfast table every single morning. Now, skipping breakfast isn't the answer either. When you skip breakfast, cortisol, your stress hormone, stays elevated from its natural morning peak much longer. High cortisol raises blood pressure, promotes inflammation, and triggers stronger cravings for high-sugar foods later in the day, which leads to a bigger blood sugar crash in the afternoon, which further stresses the heart. What your heart actually needs is a breakfast that provides slow, steady energy. Eggs with vegetables, oatmeal with berries and ground flaxseed, avocado on whole grain bread, Greek yogurt with nuts. These foods reduce morning inflammation. They support the flexibility of your arterial walls, and they keep blood sugar stable for 3 to 4 hours, so your heart works in a calmer, more supported environment all morning long. Start changing your breakfast this week. Give it 30 days. Pay attention to how you feel. Real-life example. Margaret's story. Let me tell you about Margaret. Margaret is 64. She takes one blood pressure medication and considers herself reasonably active. She walks a few times a week. She's been told to watch her heart. But for the past year, she's been waking up with a strange heaviness in her chest. Not pain, just pressure. It goes away after an hour or two. Her doctor did an EKG and said everything looked normal. The feeling kept coming back. What Margaret didn't know was that her morning routine was quietly stressing her heart in 3 ways at once. She was waking up dehydrated and immediately drinking coffee. She was eating sweetened cereal with orange juice. And after breakfast, she was sitting for 2 to 3 hours reading the news without moving. Nothing dramatic. Nothing that looked dangerous. Just a normal morning. When Margaret learned what was happening inside her body and made a few small, targeted changes, the chest heaviness faded within 3 weeks. Her morning blood pressure readings dropped. Her doctor noticed the improvement at her next visit. Margaret's story is the story of millions of people over 50 right now, going about their days completely unaware that their daily routines are working against their heart. The good news is that the body responds faster than most people expect, and you don't have to overhaul your entire life to feel that response. Habit 4. Poor sleep. Your heart does not get a break when you sleep. In fact, some of the most critical cardiovascular repair work your body does only happens during deep sleep. Blood pressure naturally dips, sometimes 10 to 20% lower than waking levels. This gives the heart and arteries a chance to rest and recover. Inflammation is dialed down. Cortisol drops. Repair begins. If you consistently sleep fewer than 6 hours, or if your sleep is fragmented and light, your heart never gets that repair window. Blood pressure doesn't dip the way it should. Cortisol stays elevated. Inflammatory processes that should wind down stay active all night. People who regularly sleep less than 6 hours have significantly higher rates of high blood pressure, heart attack, and stroke. This is not a small difference. After 50, this problem deepens. The proportion of deep, restorative sleep naturally declines with age. Older adults spend more time in lighter sleep stages that are easily disrupted. And sleep apnea, where the airway partially collapses during sleep, causing you to briefly stop breathing, sometimes dozens of times a night, becomes far more common after 50. Each of those breathing pauses sends a cortisol and adrenaline surge through the body. Each one briefly spikes blood pressure. Each one stresses the heart. Most people with sleep apnea don't know they have it. If you snore regularly, wake up tired even after a full night, or wake with headaches or a dry mouth, please speak to your doctor about a sleep study. Sleep apnea is treatable, and treating it can dramatically reduce cardiovascular risk. For better sleep, keep a consistent sleep and wake time. Make your bedroom dark and cool. Avoid screens for an hour before bed. Avoid large meals within 2 hours of sleeping. And limit alcohol in the evening. Even though it helps you fall asleep, it severely disrupts sleep quality in the second half of the night, leaving your body more inflamed by morning. Protect your sleep like it's medicine. Because for your heart, it genuinely is. Habit 5. Chronic unmanaged stress. This one is the most powerful and least understood. Most people hear stress is bad for the heart and nod along, but they don't understand the specific mechanism that is destroying their arteries every single day. It's not dramatic stress. It's not screaming matches or life-altering crises. The real hidden killer is chronic low-grade stress. The background hum of worry, tension, financial pressure, family conflict, loneliness, and quiet anxiety that millions of people over 50 carry with them constantly. It doesn't feel like a medical problem. It just feels like life. But inside the body, it is running a physiological emergency program, continuously. When your body perceives stress, it releases cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart rate rises. Blood pressure goes up. Blood clotting factors increase. Blood sugar rises. All of this is brilliant for a short burst of danger. But when it runs continuously, day after day, week after week, those same mechanisms start destroying you. Chronic elevated cortisol hardens and narrows the arteries. It raises blood pressure persistently. It promotes abdominal fat, the visceral fat most strongly linked to heart disease. It disrupts sleep. It keeps inflammation burning. And here's what changes after 50. The hormone systems that turn the stress response off become less efficient with age. Younger bodies bounce back from stress faster. Older bodies stay elevated longer. The cortisol lingers. The inflammation persists, and the next wave of stress arrives before the first one has even cleared. The powerful truth? A consistent daily stress reduction practice, even just 10 minutes of slow, intentional breathing, can measurably reduce cortisol, lower blood pressure, and reduce inflammatory markers in the blood. Slow breathing works. Breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 2, breathe out for 6. This activates the vagus nerve and literally shuts down the fight-or-flight response within minutes. Done daily, it trains your nervous system toward a calmer baseline. Walking in nature without your phone reduces cortisol and improves heart rate variability, a key marker of cardiovascular health. And real social connection, genuine face-to-face time with people you care about, is one of the most powerful cardiovascular medicines available. Loneliness in older adults carries a cardiovascular risk comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Your emotional environment is shaping your heart health every single day. Don't dismiss this. Simple at-home check. Here's something you can do right now. Sit quietly for 5 minutes. Then count your resting heart rate. Place 2 fingers gently on the inside of your wrist, below your thumb, and count pulses for 60 seconds. A healthy resting rate is between 60 and 100. Watch for the trend. If it's consistently above 80 or feels irregular, occasionally skipping or adding a beat, mention it to your doctor. Also notice your mornings. Do you wake refreshed or heavy and foggy? Is there any tightness or pressure in your chest in the first hour? Do your ankles swell by end of day? These are your body's signals. They're not a diagnosis. Only your doctor can do that. But they are worth paying attention to and worth bringing up at your next appointment. Your simple daily protocol. Let's put this all together into something you can actually start tomorrow. In the morning, drink 2 full glasses of water before anything else. Eat a low-sugar, protein-rich breakfast. Take 5 slow, deep breaths before reaching for your phone. During the day, stand up and move for 2 minutes every 45 minutes. Drink water consistently, not just when thirsty. When you feel stress building, pause and take 5 slow breaths out longer than in. In the evening, finish your last meal 2 to 3 hours before bed. Put screens away an hour before sleeping. Protect your 7 to 8 hour sleep window, 3 to 4 times a week. Take a brisk walk, swim, or do gentle movement for 20 to 30 minutes. Not exhausting, just enough to get your heart rate up and your lungs working. What to expect in the first week? Sleep often improves first. Many people feel less morning heaviness and notice slightly better energy. By weeks 2 and 3, morning blood pressure often begins to drop. Energy stabilizes. The afternoon slump becomes less severe. By 1 to 2 months, a felt sense of less chest pressure. Resting heart rate often drops. Mood stabilizes. Digestion improves. By 3 to 6 months, consistent habits can produce clinically meaningful changes in blood pressure, cholesterol ratios, blood sugar, and inflammation. Changes that show up on your next blood panel and that your doctor will likely comment on. The body is remarkable in its ability to respond, but it needs consistency, not perfection. Important. Please read this carefully. Nothing in this video replaces medical care. If you experience chest pain, pressure, shortness of breath, pain in your left arm or jaw, sudden dizziness, or feel that something is seriously wrong, call emergency services immediately. Do not wait. Heart attacks are time-sensitive. Every minute matters. If you have been diagnosed with heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, or any cardiovascular condition, please work with your doctor before making significant changes to your routine or medications. And if you haven't had a cardiovascular checkup recently, blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar, resting EKG, please schedule one. The most dangerous changes in the heart and arteries are often completely silent. Regular monitoring is how you catch them early when something can still be done. Closing. I want to leave you with something important. You are not powerless here. The reason we talk about these habits is not to frighten you. It's because the science is genuinely clear that the human heart, even after 50, even after 60, even after 70, responds positively when the real, hidden causes of damage are addressed. The arteries that have been narrowing can stop narrowing, and in some cases begin to open again, when the inflammation driving that process is reduced. Blood pressure that has been creeping upward can begin to come down when the daily habits driving it are changed. The heart that has been working too hard can be supported, protected, and in many ways healed when you give it the conditions it needs. Margaret didn't take a new medication. She drank water in the morning. She changed her breakfast. She started moving every 45 minutes. She protected her sleep. She started breathing slowly for 10 minutes before bed. Simple, almost boring. And yet, it changed how she felt every single day. Your body is not failing you. It is trying to communicate with you. Through the morning heaviness, the broken sleep, the afternoon exhaustion, the subtle pressure in the chest. These are signals, not punishment. Start with one change tomorrow, just one. 2 glasses of water before your coffee, a short walk after breakfast, 1 less pastry, 1 hour less of unbroken sitting. Give it a week, then give it a month. Pay attention to what your body says back. Because here's the truth I want you to carry with you today. It is never too late to start, and it is always worth starting. Take care of your heart. It has been taking care of you your entire life,